In The Dark Knight, the mob turns to the Joker, a man who thrives on chaos. Why would they turn to someone so dangerous? Well, it's because Batman pushed them to the breaking point. And I think something similar is happening right now with the rise of the carnivore movement. Something strange has been happening lately. All across social media, there's been a rise in people proudly eating raw animal organs, talking about how vegetables are toxic, and claiming the ultimate thing you can do for your health is eat nothing but meat. That's the carnivore diet. No plants, no fiber, just animal products. Meat, organs, eggs, and sometimes dairy. For some, it's a new health trend. For others, it's a full-blown identity. And for a growing number of influencers, it's a movement. But what's actually going on here? Why are so many people going all in on this extreme diet? Is it really just about health? Or is there something deeper happening? And what does any of this have to do with chaos, rebellion, and the Joker? Carnivore isn't mainstream. Not yet. But it's loud and it's growing. Big names like Joe Rogan, Jordan Peterson, and mostly his daughter, Michaela Peterson, promote it heavily. Carnivore promises simplicity. No more bloating, no more cravings, no more guesswork. Just steak, salt, and success. It taps into the appeal of control. Control over your body, your life, your rules. For some people with specific health issues, eating this elimination diet has brought them relief. For others, it's about the community, the identity, the vibe. It's hard to ignore the personalities pushing this. Charismatic, muscular, and confidently anti-mainstream. They make you feel like you're on the edge of something bold, like you're standing up to the system. And let's be honest, there's a certain thrill in doing the opposite of what everyone says you should. But is that all it is? Is it just about feeling good and fitting in somewhere new? Or is this also about pushing back against something? Something people feel has taken over the conversation about food, health, and morality. The rise of the carnivore diet isn't just a health trend. It's a rebellion. And to understand what it's rebelling against, we need to look at what came just before. Here's where the story takes a turn. While carnivore is rising, it's also reacting. Over the last decade, plant-based eating has exploded into the mainstream. Netflix documentaries, climate campaigns, doctors, athletes, it's everywhere. At least, it feels that way. Vegans are still a small minority of the population. In the US, for example, vegans only make up about 1 or 2% of the population. But the visibility has grown. And for some people, that visibility can feel like pressure. Why is that? Well, vegans are often touching on deeply personal things. What you eat, how you grew up, your family meals, your culture. And when someone says those choices might be causing harm, whether to animals, your health, or the planet, it can feel like a personal accusation. And for most of us, when we feel judged or cornered, we push back. No one wants to feel like the villain in their own story. Could that be another reason so many people are turning to the carnivore movement? And are the vegans completely innocent in all this? Or have they been pushing people in that direction? Within any movement, there are people who lose their way. And the vegan movement is no exception. Many vegans focus on meaningful conversations and raising awareness, but some give the impression that they care more about attention than solutions. They aim to shock, provoke, and sometimes insult, and all of these insults and attacks and the outrage it causes might work on social media, where outrage rakes in the views. But in the real world, it can backfire, and it can push people away. So maybe this carnivore rebellion is, in part, a reaction, not just to the vegan message, but to how the vegan message is being delivered. And just a side note before we get into some carnivore controversy.
I fucked up. I lied.
If you've ever felt talked down to, judged, or mocked by vegans, I get it, honestly. But please, don't turn to the opposite extreme just to make a point. Don't turn away from something meaningful because someone made you feel unwelcome. Most vegans are just trying to make the world a little less cruel. That's it. And even if we get it wrong sometimes, I promise you, our hearts are in the right place. In The Dark Knight, the mob turns to the Joker, not because they trust him, but because they're desperate. Batman is winning, and the world's changing too fast. They want to stop it. The carnivore movement feels a bit like that. A desperate swing in the opposite direction. A chaotic answer to a complicated question. Enter the influencers. Liver King, Sean Baker, Paul Saladino. They don't just preach carnivore, they perform it. They try to project dominance, certainty, and masculinity, an appealing package in uncertain times. The shock factor of them eating nothing but animal muscles and organs, sometimes raw, isn't a problem. It's the feature. It's part of the algorithm, the brand, the rebellion. And it sells, especially when it comes with a six-pack and a charming, confident smile. But what's behind the smile? Is everything really as it seems? Well, here's some truth. Liver King was on a cocktail of steroids costing hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Just how many drugs was he on? Like, what are the sort of dosages for those of us that aren't a part of the...
Off the top of my head, there was IGF-1, CJC, ipamorelin, MK677, GH, Winstrol, Deca, Test. So 8.
I'm making this video to apologize because I lied and I misled a lot of people.
Joe Rogan, a major voice in the carnivore hype machine, is on testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah, testosterone replacement therapy, hormone replacement therapy. I started doing all that when I was 40.
And has access to an elite level lifestyle and the comforts that come with incredible wealth that most people could never afford. Additional to his testosterone therapy, he does ice baths, red light therapy, cryotherapy, isolation tanks, gets regular massages, and has access to high-tech private gyms.
And I know from the tank, from the isolation tank, that it's a great way of absorbing magnesium through the Epsom salts. 2 hours for me is a sweet spot. When I come out after 2 hours, I'm just like so chilled out.
Their bodies, definitely not built by ribeyes alone, but they know how to sell that image. And it's not just them. Many influencers using their physique to sell the carnivore diet didn't get into shape because of their diet. They realized they had great genetics or elite level discipline and then turned that into the brand. Just like how fitness influencers become famous after they look the part. They realize they look great and become fitness influencers. It's not the other way around.
There are some people out there that, you know, don't put any effort into the way they look and they look great. And we're like, are you kidding me? This guy, he eats all day, he eats rubbish, he has takeaway for every meal and he's shredded. Those people very quickly, their friends, oh, you should become a personal trainer. You should work in the fitness industry. Not everyone looks the way they do because of what they preach. They preach what they're preaching because of the way they look. People that put on muscle easy are probably going to sell bodybuilding programs. People that respond to steroids very well are going to do that. Those that can remain very lean are probably going to sell fat loss plans.
And sure, part of it is about money, but part of it is also personal. It's rebellion, a cultural pushback against the growing idea that being kind to animals might actually be reasonable. But fantasy doesn't last forever. Liver King steroid use was exposed. Sean Baker, another carnivore influencer, used images of astronaut bone deterioration and claimed it showed the effects of a vegan diet, when in reality, it had nothing to do with veganism.
What is going on, guys? So today we're going to be discussing some lies that Sean Baker has been caught in spreading. Sean Baker has recently made this post on Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter, it says, fun fact, numerous studies have now shown consistent relationships between plant-based diets and significantly increased fracture rates. Followed by these two images, one of non-vegan bones and vegan bones. If you reverse image search them, you will find that they are from a NASA page on bone mineral loss when in a reduced gravity environment. So it appears that Sean is trying to mislead his audience with pictures of two sets of bones, claiming that the set of bones with bone mineral loss are vegan bones.
Carnivore influencers have started contradicting themselves. Here's a supercut of the popular carnivore influencer Steak and Butter Gal appearing to lie over and over again.
You know what I can't understand? Nobody seemed to care when I was on a standard American diet, eating donuts, chips, cookies, fast food, junk food every single day. I struggled with eczema and cystic acne since I can remember. Nobody cared. I went vegan, still had cystic acne, still had eczema.
So this is very confusing. Not sure if she's just lying here, but according to her, this was her skin when she was on a vegan diet. This is her skin on a standard American diet, which is not a vegan diet. But what's confusing is that in the past, she has made multiple posts showing this picture and saying, this is my skin on a vegan diet. So either she's lying here or this is some serious carnivore brain fog.
I hate to break it to you, but you do not need to eat carbs. I haven't eaten a single carb in 6 years. I've been drinking this every day for the past few months. I haven't eaten a single carb in 6 years. I've been drinking this every day for the past few months. I haven't eaten a single carb
And it's ironic for you to say that when you're drinking breast milk from cows.
I
Breast
actually
milk from any
do not
animal.
eat dairy right now because it inflames me.
Here's everything I eat in a day to burn fat while building muscle. I've been loving having a ton of raw cheese on the side with my fatty meat meals.
Do you know about this raw dairy hack? It works in almost all states. It's easy to get raw dairy in California where it's legal. This is a block of raw cheese. My carnivore diet lately has been just these two ingredients, beef and some type of dairy. I actually
milk from any
do not
animal.
eat dairy right now. This morning, my husband asked me what perfume I was wearing because I smelled so good. And he couldn't believe when I said that I don't wear perfume anymore. I don't even use body wash in the shower. And this really got me thinking. Ever since going from a vegan diet to a carnivore diet, I don't have body odor. Eating plants, my feet would get smelly all the time. My hair would get greasy. I would fart and have gas all the time. First week of carnivore, it was a disaster. I would run to the bathroom and have very loose, watery stools. And that was definitely diarrhea. Lots of diarrhea. And sometimes it was quite explosive diarrhea.
The types of studies they would usually dismiss were suddenly valid if they supported meat.
Baker is known for his opposition to epidemiological studies, but in 2021 started supporting such studies if they are being done on the carnivore diet. He has said epidemiology is garbage regardless of the result. He has even said that epidemiology studies are not science. Think of these two quotes: epidemiology is garbage regardless of the result, and epidemiology is not science. As I share multiple instances of Sean Baker sharing epidemiology in favor of eating meat.
It's not about science for many of these people. It's about the story they want to tell and the audience willing to believe it. And now, people are quitting the diet, quietly at first, then loudly. They're sharing their gut issues, energy crashes, nutrient problems.
Ever wonder what would happen if you only ate meat and cheese? Well, one man in his 40s wound up at Tampa General Hospital with yellowish lumps of cholesterol developing on parts of his body. He told doctors he ate 6 to 9 pounds of cheese, sticks of butter, and hamburgers every day for 8 months, taking diet advice from the internet.
Even Paul Saladino, a famous carnivore influencer, no longer eats a carnivore diet after reintroducing fruit and other carbs.
I cut out all the plants from my diet and basically ate meat, organs, and fat for close to 2 years. About 2 years into the carnivore diet, I started noticing persistence of unpleasant symptoms. So testosterone dropped to around 500 total, sleep disturbances, palpitations, muscle cramps when I was surfing or climbing. And at that point, I added honey and then fruit to my diet. And it's been an evolution since then for probably the last 3 years. Animal-based pasta with 0 grains. This is what I eat instead of pasta on an animal-based diet. Let me show you how to make it. So I cooked the spaghetti squash for maybe an hour at 400 degrees, give or take. Then you just take a fork and look at that. It's like animal-based spaghetti right there.
An animal-based diet must be the easiest diet on earth to follow because all you do is you take what you're eating and you call it animal-based.
Yes, people quit vegan diets too, but the reasons often come down to poor planning, under-eating, or jumping on restrictive calorie-deficient fads like raw veganism or juice cleanses. Not the plant-based diet itself. It's more about improper execution, as a varied, nutritionally adequate diet is possible without animal products. Eventually, in the Dark Knight, the mob realizes the Joker wasn't their savior, he was their downfall. And I think we'll eventually get to that point with the carnivore movement. More and more people are coming forward with severe health issues from eating this nutritionally inadequate diet. More people are waking up to the fact that they were sold a fantasy built on frustration with vegan messaging, but delivering little more than health issues, ethical blind spots, and negative environmental impact. So what now? Well, if you've been hurt by the movement's lies, its grift, its absurd promises, you're not alone. Please don't walk away from this thinking there's nowhere else to go. People who care about animals, about truth, about health, we're still here. Not perfect and trying not to preach, but just trying to help build something better. No judgment, no pressure, just a better way forward. And I hope you'll stick around.